Right. Welcome to yourstory.com. We are with Petasense, a product startup from San Jose, and I'm with Abhinav Khushraj, the co-founder of the company. Arun Santebenor was not with us today because he's in the US.
That's right.
And
he's selling.
He's selling. There you go.
Yeah.
So, without ado, these guys are the vibration doctors. Okay, they're an IoT company and they work with manufacturing plants. Abhinav, fantastic phrase, right? Vibration doctors. Why?
Well, if you look at the industrial world, there are millions of rotating machines. And rotating machines are things that we've all used in our life. Without knowing, we've been using them. They are motors, pumps, compressors that, every industrial company, every industrial plant or a factory needs them. If you think oil and gas, power generation, everything we consume in our life comes from a factory.
Correct.
And they have rotating machines. And when these machines fail, it causes a lot of grief, economic grief, operational grief, and that is just a big problem that needs to be solved. And traditionally, they use vibration as a way to capture the health of the machine.
Okay.
And the vibration, much like the EKG gives you your health, like your heart's health, or the Fitbit tells you your operating health. The vibration sensor, this is our vibration sensor here.
Okay. Can I see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What does it do?
You just stick it on to the rotating machine on the drive end or the non-drive end, and it starts to capture vibrations.
So if this is a machine, you just sit on it like that.
Yes,
it's locked in.
You just stick it right there.
Okay.
Literally stick it using glue, industrial glue, and then it starts to capture vibrations. It's battery operated using Wi-Fi, wireless technology. Just ships the data out to the cloud.
Okay.
And once it's on the cloud, that's where we do the magic. My co-founder Arun and I, our background is building software companies.
Okay.
We worked at software companies like Citrix, Nokia.
Right.
He's built a speech recognition software company. And speech and vibration is very similar.
Okay.
Just like you can, look at speech and disaggregate.
There is sound in the end, right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Just like you can look at, if you go to a busy party room, you can capture audio files from there, and then you can separate the high frequency voice is a baby's voice, low frequency voice is a old man's voice, right? Similarly, vibration you collect a patch of vibration data, and then you convert it to spectral data. And looking at the high frequency, it's a bearing fault. Looking at the low frequency data, it's shaking loose. Or if it's certain pattern of the vibration, you say it's misaligned with the pump and the motor. And so that's really exciting because deep science. As engineers, we always love technical stuff, and this takes it to a whole new level.
That's interesting, right? I mean, and it doesn't have a SIM card. It's Wi-Fi based.
It's Wi-Fi based. That's right.
Okay.
And usually, what we do is we have a gateway. Sometimes customers don't have Wi-Fi in the plant area, so we install a Wi-Fi cellular gateway. So this thing will talk to the Wi-Fi access point, and that access point is using a cell network to get the data out.
Wow. So would this be under the realm of structured or unstructured data? It's unstructured analog data that you take in.
That's right.
And then you create parameters to measure it.
Well, I think it's vibration data is that's one of the reasons that we built the hardware, right? Because with the hardware you get immense control over the quality of the data, the velocity of the data, the volume of the data you can get. And if you speak to any data science expert, they'll tell you that the single biggest differentiator of building a great AI application is great data. And in the industrial world, you need to, if you want to get great data, you cannot go to another proxy server which has some data. You need to build your own data collector device. Right, and that's a wireless vibration sensor. So we get phenomenal quality vibration data that you can actually do much better machine learning than if you just took data that they already had from some systems.
You want to explain quickly to our audience that in the old days, how did they measure? I've seen machines in manufacturing plants that send data out anyway.
That's right.
And they did predictive maintenance.
Absolutely. So let me explain. Right. So traditionally, what happened was very, very long back, people let the machines run to fail, and that's actually a methodology.
That's about 30 years ago?
30, 40 years ago, run to failure. Even today, there are some plants who just run to failure because they don't know any better.
Wow.
Okay? And if it's not a critical machine or critical asset, you let it fail because that might be the right economic choice for it. Then the prevailing standard is preventive maintenance. So what is preventive maintenance? It is time-based maintenance. So if you have your bathroom that gets cleaned every day by a janitor, they go in irrespective of whether it was dirty or not dirty, right? So time-based. Go there every month, tighten the bearings, tighten the greasing. But that is not the most efficient way to do it. Imagine you have to maintain an army of people who have to go out and tighten the bearings and so on.
And keep a watch on it all the time.
And you don't need to.
And you have these sheets mentioned that, okay, this is fine, that's fine.
That's right. And they may not even
They do that for machines too,
exactly. And so 20 years back, the industrial folks figured out, hey, we need a smarter way, a predictive way to do it. So they started to collect data from machines, vibration data. So we didn't invent vibration, by the way. It's been around in the world of engineering. They would go out with an iPad-like device. An iPad, it was a very clunky old device. They'd go out and collect the data, come back to the office room, plug it into your laptop.
Really? So people went around like this. They took a tablet, went around.
Made a collector and connect a stethoscope-like device, collect the data, come back to the office, and then they needed an analyst who really understood vibration. And that is such a hard skill to find.
How did you solve all that? I'm just curious.
I mean, one by one, that's what entrepreneurs do. You know, Arun and I were inspired to. We didn't come from the industrial world, but we had one passion. Let's take technology to places where it's not gone before. Because for two reasons it's exciting. One is, it's exciting because obviously that, you know, hey, we'll have more opportunity because not many people have gone there. Second, it's more fun when you've not done it before, nobody's tried it before. You're going to solve a hard problem. Yes. And that's why we went into that world. You know.
Okay, on that segue, right, I want to talk about IoT and AI and ML. You're saying it's two sides of the same coin.
That's right.
And the market is, I mean, it's all pervasive now.
That's right.
We have to get used to it. So let's divide that. Let's talk about the IoT market, and then let's get on to AI in an academic format. What is it? It means many things for many people.
That's right, exactly. So, well, let me take IoT first, right? So these are technologies, these are buzzwords, these are enablers.
Correct.
They are not, technically they're not industries. Industries are, you know, our industries predictive maintenance, that's an industry. And how you solve a problem in that industry,
it's got a business outcome.
So the industry is around that. You may have you have the auto industry, and they're using IoT technologies to connect those cars. It's not an IoT industry. And of course, it makes sense to carve out the IoT industry.
Yes, it's a horizontal.
It's a horizontal, right? Now, there are lots of reports out there that talk about, you know, we'll have trillions of devices and billions of devices. Those are all good, but you don't get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But let me give you a good way to think about it, right? There are 4 mega trends that are happening. That have already happened.
And this is something key. You guys in India watching this have to listen to this, please.
Absolutely. There are 4 mega trends. Okay. There are very obvious trends, but those are making the change. Number one, pervasive sensors.
Okay.
Your phone has a couple dozen sensors, right?
Yeah.
And they've come down in price and they've become more powerful, more capable. That's the number one capability. Second is pervasive connectivity. Cellular connectivity is everywhere. Wireless is available. Wi-Fi is available in almost most major countries, most homes, and in India it's still growing, but at least Bangalore, you know, you go to any tech place, there's lots of Wi-Fi, and then there's Bluetooth. So there's lots of wireless. So connectivity, the second big trend that is.
So it's really data everywhere. There's data being generated.
Right. So no. Data. I'm coming to data. First is there are sensors. That's a big technology shift. Wireless availability is a big technology shift. Third is cloud computing. Cloud computing has become, you know, so accessible, so available. It is really letting you do more things that you couldn't do before. And fourth, AI has come to mainstream. AI algorithms have been around for 50 years. Nothing has changed in that. Maybe there are more advanced algorithms, but it's come to fruition because of some of these other things. When you take all of these 4 things together, you can now make millions of devices like these that can go. And it started with things already on the consumer side.
And it's so portable,
it's not designed for porting, it's designed for permanent monitoring. But, you know, think on the consumer side, you have products that are like Fitbit or Nest thermostat that, you know, are quote-unquote IoT devices, but they take all those 4 mega trends to action, right? On the industrial side, on the enterprise side, you can imagine everything around us connected as long as it is solving a problem, right? You may not want a connected egg tray, that may not make great business case, but you want to, but the manufacturer of the refrigerator may want a connected refrigerator so they can do better services, they can have a recurring source of revenue for something, right? So that's how we think about IoT, that many devices will obviously get connected.
So in a factory scenario, I've always seen robots, and these robots would work in a set rule, right?
That's right.
But now you're saying they're all connected. They know what's happening.
They're all connected, absolutely. That will change the game. In factories, all our assets are going to start talking to each other.
So they're going to start thinking a little bit like us, right? Because there's some amount of data flow happening.
Absolutely. In fact, I think this is how we explain to some of our customers, you know, airplanes have been on autopilot for a while now. They take off and land.
Not many people know that, but they land.
Exactly. The thing that is getting on autopilot is cars. Cars are, you know, or driverless cars are a big rage. Driverless autopilot factories have not yet happened, and that's the next big frontier, and we believe that's a big opportunity.
So you're preparing for that too.
Absolutely. This is the way it gets there, you know. Exactly.
You know, what is AI according to you? I mean, obviously several reports. There are kids out there. We churn out 1 million engineers in India.
Right.
And I believe that all of them have passed for a reason. They want to aspire to become something in life, and with China and US filing so many papers on AI.
Right.
We don't have that in India. So I want you to explain what is AI, if from a basic sense. How do people prepare for it?
Okay.
And then where to work with people like you.
Yeah.
What does it take to work with you? I mean, I know in India we're a bit. Forgive the phrase. I say we're a bit casteist. I feel sometimes we go to IITs. Maybe ISB, Bits Bilani, but yeah. but I feel there are other colleges that can offer this talent, right?
That's right.
So how if they have to work with you, how should they look at AI?
Okay, I think you asked a lot of questions in there. So I'll talk about
one whole thing. I mean, just want to know what AI is.
Right. So I'll give you the basics. So the way I look at the way I've understood and learned about AI is great at doing tasks, repetitive human tasks that require some judgment. Like you have a word, you could detect a word using speech recognition. You could look at a picture and do NLP and get the word out of it. So
it's computer
AI
vision.
is good for all of those are fields under that, right? But in essence, it's doing repetitive human tasks can be automated.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Going to the next level, you could do and fill forms online, but that is still manually filled.
It is completely.
But now, if the forms could be automatically filled, that would be AI could do that. And in AI, Andrew Ng is kind of the guru of AI, and I am a big fan of his. And he's put it very articulately, right? AI is, if you're building a company that is powered by AI, you are going to be defensible or you're going to be sophisticated not on the basis of how powerful your algorithms are, but on the basis of your data advantage. Okay, and our data advantage are these sensors.
Right.
When you have data coming in from these sensors, and if we install millions of these sensors in many of these factories, that data advantage will give us the best way to analyze the health of these machines.
Right. And so, but forgive me, just to it's a combination of a data scientist and a software guy, or
absolutely. The way the world works is in our world with the team is we have a data science who's responsible for having deep domain understanding. But without domain understanding, you're not a great data scientist.
So you're saying as an engineer, you got to learn a little bit of data, how data comes in, how you structure it, and then use your software knowledge to ask questions.
Well, I think data science itself is an independent field, right? So people who are just learning computer science are not automatically data scientists. You need to take a certain set of courses to get really deep in it, right? And so data science there are data scientists, there are data science programs that are being offered globally in India and in the US. So that's one stream, and you can hire them. And computer scientists, computer science engineers who are learning how to program things, they need to learn the foundational building blocks of AI and what are the things, because they need to translate that model or the algorithm into a piece of software. So that's what they need to learn.
Okay, when the likes of Amazon and Google come to you and say, don't worry about the back end, we will give you the tools about AI.
That's right.
And there's a focus on logic and development. Do you say that engineers should come and learn to use these tools?
Absolutely.
That's
the way to do it. Don't waste time on building all of that. Because these big companies, even if you build it, you won't build it at a cost-effective way. You won't build it at scale.
Was that how you built it?
Yeah, we are building it on cloud. We are using one of the major big cloud providers, and all of our stuff is built on cloud. And I would doubt if anybody is building native apps these days, other than iPhone apps that are native apps.
I agree with you. So that's how they start. So firstly, I mean, if you summarize this AI ML piece for talent, right? You're saying start with a business outcome, understand what business you want to get into.
Yeah, what domain? If you like, if you like to solve speech problems, get into that. If you want to get into driverless cars, understand that. Because the problem set are very different, and you can jump after a few years in one. You can go to something else, and all of that learning will be valuable. But really understanding the domain which you're trying to solve is extremely important.
No wonder earlier you said that this is similar to speech.
That's
and
right.
that one of you had done something similar.
Arun has done a speech startup.
So therefore, vibration makes sense.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the domain that you had to focus.
That's right. So for him, it was a parallel shift. It wasn't a completely new realm. Right.
Exactly. Interesting. So there you go, engineers. You got to focus on the domain, and that's very important.
That's very important.
And what is the difference between a product and a solution? A lot of startups come to me and say, we're building a solution that can change your business.
Okay.
But then there's no packaging around it.
That's right.
For me, a product needs packaging.
Right.
But I don't know. You can correct me. You're an engineer and a businessman.
Yeah. I can give you the technical definitions of it. Right. A solution, as the name suggests, solves a problem. That's why it's called a solution.
Right.
Solve the problem.
Yes. As simple as that.
Exactly. As simple as that. It's a solution for a specific problem that you have. So if you need to get your home made, it's a problem, and somebody who provides the end-to-end ability to build a home is a solution provider, right? Now the solution can be offered in more than one way. So you could provide, if you have a lack of billing software, you could go to Infosys and they can take a services project and build the billing system for you, and they're providing you that service,
Yes.
and you may have a solution ready for you,
Correct.
right? On the other hand, you have a product experience, which is where you have you want to order a cab and you just have an app, but the product is built once, but it
Correct.
keeps getting repeatedly used, and that's why the Valley
Fresh,
investors and the Bangalore investors want to invest in product company that can scale mega fast. Services companies don't scale exponentially, and you can also offer a solution with a combination of two.
So explain in your thing. I mean, if you're a solution, but
Well,
you're also a product.
We are also a solution because we solve the whole problem.
Yes.
If you only solve part of the problem, then you might.
Do you want to explain that further?
Yeah.
quickly?
So we are an end-to-end. We build both the hardware and the software, and also predict the health of the machine.
That's
the
a
end.
service.
It's a software service
That's
because we do it
software
using
service.
AI.
Okay.
So it is
Correct.
a service, but it's
Correct.
a software service.
And that's
right?
the solution.
So the whole package from.
Okay.
So when we go to a customer, hey, you have failing machines, we got it.
Okay.
We'll take care of them, right?
Okay. Interesting.
How will you do it? We'll stick a sensor, we'll connect it to wireless, and we'll run the software, AI software, and give you predictions so you can get it on your mobile phone.
And then you wrap around
and
that.
we build all those pieces. We build the hardware, the mobile app, the cloud app, the AI, and the software. And it seems too much to do, right? And that's what makes it interesting to work on.
You made an interesting point. I mean, you've learned this over the years in the Valley.
That's right.
How do you see this coming to Bangalore? You have a very good Bangalore R&D team, I think. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you want to talk about that team in particular?
So it is not coming to India; it's already in India
Okay,
because our software is powered by.
About 22
awesome,
of them. 22 people? Or
No,
11
we
at
have
the moment?
about 10 people in our Bangalore team, and they power all of the software.
Okay.
And they're incredible. And I think Bangalore's got a immense amount of talent.
Okay.
What we have to do, as a company, as a hirer, the hard part is. Sifting through the noise and the really good talent, right? Because there's a lot of folks churning out of engineering colleges, and then they get into companies, and finding really deep technical people is extremely difficult and also extremely important. Because if you want to build something as deep as what we're building, you need folks who are fundamentally curious about learning new technology shifts, right? It's not like
so math is a given. Math is a given, stat is
or
a
at least
given.
a proclivity for math. They may not be already good at math, but at least they enjoy math and they like because lots of fields come together. There's physics, there's engineering here, there's hardware, there's software. So it's a great way for engineers. It's a la-la land for engineers. They can learn so many different things.
At least you've been kind to us. It's a la-la land for engineering for sure, but it can be trained.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and you are training these engineers?
So they didn't. So here's the thing, right? The way we structured it is, while the hardware and software engineers work together, our hardware engineers are in the Valley because hardware talent is not that easy to find here.
I realize that. Designed in the USA and even assembled in the USA, it says.
Yeah, because a lot of it was built because we are going to the industrial customer, there are a lot of compliance requirements, so we make it in the US.
Didn't go to China.
Some parts of it come from China, but most of it is done in
So
the
that's
US,
something that Indians can do?
This hardware part,
hardware.
that is harder to find those skills. It's not like Indians cannot do it, it's just that the ecosystem for learning those things don't exist. On the software side, great ecosystems exist. People know, a lot of deep technical stuff here, and we've been very satisfied.
With a little bit of training, they do.
I think the training is mostly to figure out how to build great products. The engineering foundations are quite available. Yeah.
Okay, so the business opportunity. I meet a lot of corporate in India, manufacturing companies. They don't work with startups. Firstly, I want to know why. I mean, is that a global problem? Did you face that in the US too? You've signed up quite a number of plants, and
that's right.
And you have some data points to share. If you have, you could tell me how you helped them also.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
So there's an opportunity on one side, and there's one side there's distrust. I don't know if it's distrust or it's mostly not being informed on products like this.
Okay.
So how do you handle the two?
Yeah. So I think I can first start with the US side because that's where our sales efforts are focused on right now. Of course, we have presence in many countries, but there are smaller presences than the US, right? So in the US, definitely big companies are very happy to work with startups as long as you build the rapport. The industrial world is definitely a little bit more conservative compared to the other industries, but they like the fact when young hungry entrepreneurs show up with a good solution and in our case even experience.
Yes.
I'm calling young kind of as a company young.
You're young.
Okay. Well, so they appreciate that they can get that done, and then the big driver is cost, right? We can do it at a much lower cost than they otherwise can afford.
Correct.
Right?
And you went to an industry like oil and gas.
Oil and gas we're opening up, but we went to power generation in a big way. Yeah.
And how do you break the traditional mindset?
The traditional mindset you break by the explaining to them, because they have a pain point. That's really where you start. If they have a pain point, they're not able to get predictive maintenance done. Predictive maintenance programs, the handle data collector just don't work. Require a lot of labor, a lot of knowledge, know-how.
Correct.
We remove all of that. We just say, stick this and get alerts on your phone. So that really gets the
So do you go to the CEO or CTO? Do you start at the bottom with the facilities manager?
Yeah, so I think industrial world, a lot of power and control resides at the plant level.
The facility manager.
The plant manager, that's what they call it. So the plant managers run the P&L, they have a lot of decisions.
They have a P&L.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. They in fact can dictate what choices are made at the corporate office, right?
Really?
Especially in the oil and gas, power and those kind of industries. And so we go to them and they make the budgetary decisions, and for them it's a shift in dollars. So it's not like they have to make new dollars for it. So that's how they make it happen.
Talk about that. You said shift in dollars. I mean, they don't have to invest upfront. They just buy your devices on a
well, they buy the hardware upfront. Yeah. So I think different industries, different companies operate slightly differently. But there is an upfront cost for the sensor, and they pay a few $100s for that, and then they pay a recurring software fee. So the hardware, depending on when they go into full implementation, has to come from the capex budget, which they do on an annual basis, whereas the software comes from the operational budget, because they already have the maintenance spend. Now if they can cut off that maintenance spend of the walk around guy, all of that dollars can come to us.
Talk about your first deal. I mean, you said the facility managers control the P&L. How was the first deal? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The first deal actually is still a great customer of ours, is Silicon Valley Power. Silicon Valley Power is a 150 megawatt plant that generates energy for the Santa Clara County.
Wow.
And the first time we met them, all we had was a concept made in 3D printed, and you
just went to them without anything.
Well, yeah, we
had a working demo.
We had a working demo on the software, but it wasn't anywhere near where it is supposed to be. And that's kind of the whole MVP cycle. You want to show them something and.
So what was the case study there? Did they give you an objective?
Oh yeah, so they had these fans. So if you take a typical power plant, there are two turbines made by GE or Siemens, and those generate most of the energy, right? Now the health of those is monitored by GE and Siemens. That's been done
together. Yes, I know that.
Now for every turbine, there are 50 to 100 other assets, rotating machine, the pump that is pushing the gas into the turbine. Or
nobody looked at these small guys.
And those guys that all go around and collect data manually, and that just didn't work. And so they had a fan that blew up. And I asked him, what happened? Why did it blow up? Oh, we couldn't monitor it because it was just hard. And so he said, if I can get this in there, because it's hard to reach, and it's a critical, it's a weakest link in the chain, right? So it broke. So I said, is this an exception or is this very common? He said, no, all of these other assets, these keep failing. The turbine is under control, but all these other things fail and bring the turbine down. And that was a no-brainer for them to give it a try. Of course, they were very apprehensive. It's a startup, does it work and all that. So they started with the pilot project, and today we monitor the whole site.
And did they pay you for the pilot?
Oh yeah, we don't do, because that's an important thing as a startup. We don't do, depending on your business, if it's a consumer business, I don't think you can charge the consumer for every product. But in the industrial B2B side, you usually want to charge the customer. It helps you test their ability to pay.
So basically, you got to get paid for your pilot. I know a lot of startups out there do it for free and then they get shafted. So that's one point.
That's very important. It gives you feedback whether you should be doing this or not. If they're not willing to pay, it's not the money that matters. It's like, are they willing to pay? Are they willing to write that check? Are they willing to go through the pain to get the approval for writing this check? And they'll only do that if it's a real problem. Otherwise, they're not going to.
Tell me, have you ever worked for free, a pilot? No, right?
No, I don't know.
See, there you go. That's the beauty of it, right? You have to prove your product by saying that I give you outcomes.
That's right.
And you did that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what the first project with Silicon Power was 3 months?
It was about 3 months exactly, and then we went into a production order, and then we installed the rest of the sensors for their plant in 3 months after we got the production order.
And they're still your customer?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Loving customer. They want more things from us now.
Wow.
And that's another thing, if you want to advise startups, start with a deep wedge. Inch wide and mile deep. So we took vibration, we went in really deep. Now they are asking us, can you monitor, beyond motors and pumps? Can you do pressure? Can you do temperature? They're asking all these other
things. Which can be possible.
And they are asking because now they have liked us on one angle, right? If you try to build all of those up front, first of all, you won't need to have the capital. You can't make them happy on all of those fronts. You need to focus initially to one thing and make that happen.
And the fundraise hadn't happened at that time for you?
Oh yeah, so we went out and raised money. So we went and pitched this to our investor. This is the Fitbit for industrial machines.
That was your sale, huh? That was the sell.
That was the sell, and that was to the investor who was the lead investor in Fitbit. You know who was the lead investor? True Ventures. True Ventures, they said, oh, this sounds perfect. Fitbit for industrial machines, we are in. So that's how
And
they
they got it right off the bat.
Oh yeah, they made a lot of investments in connected hardware,
Okay.
where the hardware and the software come together, both on the consumer side. Fitbit is of course the big
Okay.
one, and also on the enterprise side, like
Okay.
application.
Okay.
So they really connected with the idea.
You know, my final question to you would be, where to next 2 years from an Indian perspective for you, and where to from a market perspective,
Okay.
and how's the world shaping up? I see the world split in many ways politically over the green protocols that we talk about, the climate change, and you guys can add to climate change, right?
We can help reduce the number of emissions that are there. Yeah.
A quick summary on where to in India for you,
Yeah.
and whether India will be a business.
Yeah.
And we could talk about the global green,
Right.
go green kind of thing. Would you want to participate in that?
Okay, absolutely. So on the India front, right? I mean, clearly R&D powerhouse. We're going to double down.
There
on
you go,
that.
R&D powerhouse. Thank you. Well said.
So absolutely. So we're going to double down on that.
Okay.
Another thing, we've been blown away by the sophistication of Indian manufacturers. Okay, in fact, vibration science. Some of the best practitioners are in India who've learned the trade by serving, large government entities all the way from Bell to oil and gas companies, Bharat Petroleum and so on. So these guys have had vibration and other industrial instrumentation for a long time. So I think there's potential opportunity down the road once we have the appetite to go beyond just the current markets.
Okay.
And what was the other part of the question? Was
going green.
Yeah, going green, right? I think as clearly there's a mandate for all of our customers to, let's say our energy customers, they have to look at energy coming in well beyond just fossil fuel.
Yes.
They need to get from solar and wind and all that. But it's not going to be that solar and wind will replace that because energy can't be stored.
Correct.
You need you can use solar during daytime. You need the base load coming from fossil fuel and so on. And so there'll be a mix.
Okay.
And then as a result, we'll be and when we have our kind of sensors, our products, it'll help them be more efficient, more effective. They don't need to have redundant equipment. So as a result, we help the green movement.
You guys can contact Abhinav on his Twitter ID, which is A Khushraj, right?
Right, AKHUSHRAJ.
Fantastic. There you go. Brilliant conversation. We'll be coming back to you with more of these ideas. Thank you, Abhinav.
Thank you very much for having me.
And all the best.